Good afternoon. Menstruation, a natural fact of life and a monthly occurrence for billions of girls and women. Yet millions of them are denied the right to manage their monthly menstrual cycle in a safe and dignified manner. Gender inequality, cultural taboos, poverty, lack of basic services often cause girls' and women's menstrual health and hygiene needs to go unmet. All of this has far reaching ill effects on women's freedom and choices, school participation, community life, and safety. Therefore, through WHO and UNICEF's collaboration, the term menstrual health and hygiene was coined under the drinking water sanitation and hygiene sector, also called WASH. UNICEF envisions a world where every girl can learn and safeguard her own menstrual health without experiencing stress, shame, or barriers. UNICEF strives to support women and girls to have the confidence, knowledge, and skills to manage menstruation with safety and dignity for her overall empowerment. SR Foundation, the CSR arm of SR Group, has recently launched their flagship project, Sahej, a one of its kind technology intervention for menstrual health and hygiene management, MHH. To tell you a little more about Sahej, it is a 360 degrees platform available as a mobile app and web resource that addresses multiple stakeholder touchpoints for girls, women, and those working in the MHH value chain, such as trainers and women entrepreneurs. The Android application is publicly available for free on Google Play Store and iOS App Store, as well as at www.sahej.co.in. Sahej's soft launch in May 2020 has been appreciated by community beneficiaries as well as strategic advisory bodies such as UNICEF, WSSCC, and government agencies. The application was launched in three languages: English, Hindi, and Marathi, and then ramped up to 14 Indian languages. Further, as a part of COVID 19 relief in Maharashtra and Kashmir and Jharkhand, over 7 lakh sanitary napkins were distributed in under resourced populations, such as urban slum dwellers and migrant laborers. Today, we have with us Mr. Yusuf Kabir, Program Specialist of UNICEF India's WASH sector, as well as the DRR and Emergency Focal Point of UNICEF Office for Mumbai. Yusuf is an international civil servant and Commonwealth scholar, as well as a trained policy writer from Central European University, Budapest, Hungary. He has been working in the development sector for last 20 decades. Associated with UNICEF since 2007, he specializes in the areas of rural and urban drinking water, sanitation and hygiene, waste management, environment, climate change adaptations, and sustainable development. A warm welcome to you, Yusuf, on Dr. A Talks in association with SR Foundation.
Thank you, Dr. Aditi, and thank you, SR Foundation, for giving me the platform. It's an honor and privilege always to be discussing on issues like menstrual hygiene management. As you rightly said, there's so much of taboos, myths, and also social stigma around this.
Absolutely. Now, you have been passionately leading UNICEF, Maharashtra's water, sanitization, and menstrual hygiene project that's making a huge difference to thousands of women and adolescent girls in the state. What motivated you to take up and spearhead this cause? Because it is surely out of ordinary.
Yeah, I think this question has been asked to me many times. Just to set the context, I think first of all, thank you, Dr. Aditi, again to introducing me, and also the SR Foundation for this kind of a doctor talk on menstrual hygiene management. And I think it's a very opportune time to discuss about the menstrual hygiene management because yesterday was Global Hand Washing Day, if you remember,
Yes,
15th October. And
yes,
this year the theme was uh, like uh, like hand washing for all, making hand washing everyone's business. And we can understand, and when we think about menstrual hygiene management, without access to those facilities, water, soap, toilet, it becomes a nightmare for adolescent girls, for pregnant women, for mothers, for and also for lactating mothers. So I think this is the most opportune time today to discuss about the menstrual hygiene management, to understand the vicious cycle, also to link with water, sanitation, and hygiene, because there is a nexus between why wash, you use the term wash because it's a comprehensive package. So
Hmm.
how MHM, the menstrual health, hygiene, and management, can be seen together under water, sanitation, and hygiene. So why I am motivated? Yeah. So I started working in menstrual hygiene management in 2007. So
Hmm.
it's 13 years I'm working on these issues. And that time, when I used to attend any national or international workshops on MHM, uh, it was a surprise to many of the panelists and also to the participants that I am the only one male who was
Hmm.
speaking about MHM. So I was not, at that time, I never thought of that part. Even uh, educated people from the development sector or kind of a high and middle income group and professionals, secretaries will also react like, why this guy is speaking about MHM?
Hmm.
So I was singled out between the crowd full of women, and very few men are there, and most of the time in the panelists, I was there. Then I thought there must be some problem in our own understanding. Gender doesn't mean only female. It is more about the masculinity, femininity, and also about the power game.
Hmm.
So 2007 onwards, I started to understand more the subject. And then there are five, I would say, the triggers which triggered me to work on the menstrual hygiene management. First was the this entire taboo and stigma associated with the menstrual hygiene and entire social norms. I
Hmm.
can give you an example. Often we blame rural communities, illiterate people for they don't discuss about MHM. But when we go to, I have seen this in my house also, from other cities also, in any chemist shop, when anyone is going to buy a sanitary napkin, it is always packed in a newspaper or a black plastic. Are we buying an RDX, or are we buying something that we should not buy? So this stigma is there in across the society, irrespective of education, literacy, poverty, economic power, anything. So it is there in our mind. So that was on the motivation. Then in UNICEF, we did a study in 2019 in few districts of Maharashtra, and we came and the findings was really kind of a mind-boggling for me and many of my colleagues, that in the 21st century, even in certain parts of Mumbai, economic capital of India, like 50% of them do not think, 50% of the participants, the survey respondents, they thought that MHM is a disease. They couldn't connect this with the entire issue with the reproduction. Also, during the menstrual hygiene management, there is 30 to 35% dropout of girls from the school, first in the absence of no toilet or safe toilet with water facility, with soap facility, and also that time they are isolated. I can give you an example in many tribal pockets of India, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh. There is a concept in Marathi called Kumra Ghar, or it's called menstrual huts. So girls or women are being sent for 2 to 3 days every month to stay in that hut, and that is in 21st century in India. And we did a survey of that hut also. 70% of the huts do not have any toilets, no water facility, no soap. So you can understand how they are managing their entire menses and menstrual hygiene. It was such a pathetic situation and embarrassing when we claim ourselves to become a nuclear state. So this is something that which really bothered me, that this is it sounds very simple, but at the same time very complicated issue. But at the same time, because of menstruation, humanity is existing. Without menstruation, if you don't have a menstrual cycle, because it should be seen as a joyful thing, because of menstruation, a woman can give a birth to a child. Both of us are here because of this biological normal routine process. And another thing I observed, any kind of MHM seminars and programs, only women or girls or adolescent girls are invited. What about boys? If boys doesn't understand the change in the puberty cycle of the women or their fellow girls, if they don't understand the respect, then half our purpose is defeated. So menstrual hygiene management is not for the girls. It is should be seen as a universal approach, and it should not be always seen with a pain. I have seen many kind of a MHM films, animations when it's shown as a girl is a lot of pain. Why you have to show as a pain? Why can't she smiles also having the menses? So it has been a nature. So I think these are some of the I would say trigger or touch points, or some of botheration based on my field interaction with the communities and also senior level officials also. The stigma and taboo is there irrespective of any income groups. That motivate me that we have to do something with this chuppi toro. It has to. We have to come up openly, and the social norm need to be shifted, and it should be seen as a normal, routine biological process like any other puberty process. Over to you, Dr. Aditi.
Yes, yes. So we are also aware of the fact that UNICEF has been leading some fantastic initiatives on the theme of menstrual health and hygiene. One such initiative was the Red Dot Challenge, and it was an ingenious way of sensitizing the masses on the relevance of menstrual health and hygiene. I know that
Right.
a bunch of SR Group's youngest employees participated in the challenge. So tell us a little more about the
Right.
significance of UNICEF's and MHM campaigns, especially in the state of Maharashtra.
Yeah. So Red Dot Challenge was very unique. Like many people may have seen in the social platform with your hand having red dots here. So it is more like taking an oath, that we are taking an oath that red is not a traffic signal like you stop. Red can also be seen as a positive thing. So I will tell you what is the concept of Red Dot Challenge and entire MHM thing. So in UNICEF strategy, like we do not promote any kind of a product. Like we say that it is an absorbance. So it can be sanitary napkin, it can be cloth, it can be menstrual cups also. So what we believe that if awareness goes properly to the community, to the relevant stakeholders, and also to the peers in the family, and most importantly to the fathers, not mothers. Often we make a mistake by convincing only mothers, but in Indian society, whether we accept it or not, we have to convince father or guardian, whoever it may be. So we follow a kind of a very nice kind of, you can say, a set kind of a diagram. Like if we don't aspire for anything, we won't want to get it. Like that is why in India we may have more number of mobile phones than the toilets. Because what happens, we aspire for mobile phones or cell phones, but we don't aspire for toilets. So similarly for the menstrual hygiene management, if you give them sanitary napkin free of cost, but if you don't bring that aspiration, the awareness, the knowledge, then your purpose will be defeated. The sanitary napkin will be unused. So Red Dot campaign, one of the unique campaign to bring that awareness, access, and availability together. And when you these three success and get a switch point, that means that you are getting critical mass who are ready to accept absorbance. It can be sanitary napkin, it can be cloth, reusable cloth, and it can be menstrual cups. I must say, you'll be surprised, Dr. Aditi, to hear that there are districts in Ratnagiri and Raigarh where 2-3 gram panchayats have shifted entirely to the menstrual cups. Then the gram panchayat is a remote because they understood two things about the menstrual cups, that it can be reused, it is a one-time cost, and cups can be there for 5 to 6 years, and you don't have to have a problem of disposal. Many other organizations has come out with a biodegradable sanitary napkin which is compostable also. Many SCGs are starting making sanitary napkins. Like Padman, that's where the movie Padman came, and the famous Nuthan did that thing in way back 2005-6. In Maharashtra, also more than 10 to 12 SCGs are working on this, making that sanitary napkin in there as an SCG outlet. So when the Red Dot Challenge was all about creating an enabling environment so that irrespective of gender, age, class, everybody can join, and often we use the term Jan Andolan. So it can become a Jan Andolan on changing the social norms, because we believe when the community is convinced, they will demand for the thing. So supply and demand goes simultaneously. And I must say, we got amazing support from some very young IAS officers from Maharashtra. Like they are the young guns of India, very young people. Like I should tell their name because it will be, because they should be saying that platform, like Mr. Shekhar Singh, Mr. Uday Chaudhary, Mr. Um, Vijit Raut, Miss Nidhi Chaudhary, Miss Suman Rawat, Miss Manpreet Navpreet Kaur, Miss Manju Lakshmi. Uh, so they came out with their own district program, and they gave some different name of their program. Some name was Urja, means power. One is Utkarsha. One is Uran. So they gave their one name. Even there's a very interesting thing. I don't know how many people know. In 2018-19, because of UNICEF intervention and support, Government of Maharashtra made MHM, menstrual hygiene management, to be a must-taught subject in all the schools of Maharashtra. There's a circular issued, whether it's a district school, private schools, or any other residential schools. So UNICEF also developed a 12 weeks module on that. And what happened that when these all young IS officers came together, so automatically created a buzz, a trigger kind of thing. And UNICEF played the role of the triggering thing. And one district, that is Sindhudurg in Konkan, they got the Limca Book of Records in globally for distributing more than 3,500,000 sanitary napkins in one day in rural areas, followed by awareness campaign. So the thing is that it is a more like a comprehensive package. At the same time, in the beginning, you rightly pointed out that under Swachh Bharat Mission, the Honorable Prime Minister's flagship program, you have a specific component on menstrual hygiene management under gender. It is put under gender, so that is very unique thing. Similarly, Ministry of Human Resource and Development and Education Department, they have also come out with a Swachh Vidyalaya Puraskar, Clean School Award. And within that also menstrual hygiene management indicators are there. In Maharashtra, many child cabinets have been formed from the classes of 5th standard to 8th standard. So one of them might be the president, one of them might be the prime minister, and we call them Meena Raju Manch. Meena is a one cartoon character and Raju is the brother of Meena. So Meena Raju Manch is also custodian on promoting menstrual hygiene management to see when a girl is going to the toilet, water is there or not, soap is there or not, whether there's a dustbin to dispose the sanitary napkin. And also many of them have created kind of a small changing room or restroom, like in your hospital or something, doctor, you must have a small restroom. In the school also they have created a small restroom because sometimes they get some kind of cramp, other issues during the menstruation, because it also has a nutritional linkages. So they have created that small kind of a restroom with just a makeshift kind of a room where you have a water, you have soap, and you have a sanitary napkin product. So there are a lot of good things, and these are led by the girls. And one girl from Nasik, her name is Poonam. She is in 9th standard. She has been nominated for International Peace Prize this year for our MHM activities in Nasik. So another thing I've learned from the MHM program, the leadership and the confidence. These girls, when they were so shy to speak in the public platform, now they are coming to the cameras. They are now speaking confidently, not only in such kind of a Facebook or TikTok, even TikTok also, but also with the parents, and they are motivating the Gram Panchayat or the state or the district or the urban people. So, one of the learning from me that MHM also inculcates certain kind of leadership and confidence. It's not only gender, but it is also about empowerment in terms of leadership and confidence and coming up openly. Now, these girls are speaking about child marriage. So they have linked up one district in Thane, they link up MHM with the child marriage, because when a girl start menstruating, that means she is ready for the marriage. This is the reality in India, or maybe many other South Asian countries. So they have linked this entire MHM program with a child marriage, so that there's a less child marriage happening. And you'll be surprised to know Maharashtra is the state which has highest number of child marriages in India, along with Rajasthan. And most is from Marathwada and things. Still, we are the economic capital.
Wow,
So I think red dot challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, that comes as a surprise to me as well, and I'm sure many viewers who are with us must be feeling the same, because we consider Maharashtra to be quite a developed state, so to say. But I'm sure that you have the statistics right in front of you, and we need to take steps to curb the child marriages for sure. And it's amazing the amount of awareness that programs like these and people like you are creating. That's truly commendable. Now, as you're aware that SR Foundation has launched its marquee menstrual hygiene initiative called Sahej in the middle of the pandemic. So along with
Right.
providing over 6 lakh sanitary napkins, the foundation also launched the Sahej app that successfully made inroads right from the slums of Mumbai to disturbed regions of Kashmir. How do you think
Right.
has Sahej brought dignity to a sensitive topic such as menstrual health in India?
I think I have seen many other IT tools or IC information, education, and communication materials on MHM, menstrual hygiene management, but I found myself Sahej is one of the best. When SR team approached me in the month of March and April, I was not that very open over another kind of applications, because these are the days of Android and iOS platform and many applications. So I was not fully convinced. But when SR team showed me the demonstration, I found it, in my career of 20 years, I have not seen such 360-degree application. I call it as a one-stop shop. Like where you have mentioned the word 360, because here you get the details of kind of absorbance. You get even you can talk to an expert like you or any other doctors. You can track your menstrual cycle, and at the same time, lot of education information materials in very simple language are there. And the best part, as you rightly pointed out in the beginning, it is available in so many vernacular languages. And so that is the beauty of the Sahaj part. And also the Sahaj beauty was that you can adapt based on your need. Like it is not like a copyright only by SR. So one of the good thing I found from the SR Foundation and the SR group is that they made it for the community, not like patenting, or because we come out with many technologies, Dr. Aditi, but when it doesn't go to the community. So it is going to the community. And I would like to say that we, with the Sahaj application, we did a poetry competition. And the first, second, third prize also given. And the girls uploaded the poetry in the Sahaj application sitting in the remote areas. Maybe the initial days, because of the COVID and lockdown, we didn't get enough participants, but it's good enough. But still, so they are using the app. So the beauty of this app is that it can be customized based on your need and based on the requirement. Because the COVID time, the requirement was different. Non-COVID time requirement may be different. But we have to accept it, Dr. Aditi, that with COVID time, like this Facebook call or the Zoom call or the applications has become a new normal, and it may remain for a long time. And there is a 75% penetrations of smartphones in Maharashtra, I must say you. 75% penetration. Okay, maybe one family may have only one smartphone. So it is not that the Sahej app doesn't go to the remotest of the remote area. And the best part is that once you download, you don't need internet connection. So even in the remote tribal areas when there is no bandwidth or something, still you can access Sahej app, what I understood. So that is the beauty of the app. So I'll call it as a one-stop shop for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, SR Foundation, UNICEF Maharashtra, and MSCERT Pune spearheaded the first ever virtual training on the usability of the Sage app that empowered over 250 education officers, master trainers, and DIET principals to impart menstrual health education, especially in the rural
Aditi.
areas of Maharashtra. Sorry?
Right. No, I
Sorry
have not
about
said
that.
anything. Someone.
No, I know. So there was some technical glitch. So tell us more about the success of this initiative and how Adivasi women could be reached out through this app.
Yeah. So yes, it was a first kind of a Zoom call demonstrating the app, because you can understand these are the some of them are the teachers, some of them are the headmasters. So it was more than 250. Actually, actual number is more, goes more than 300 something, covering all the 36 districts of Maharashtra. So initially we were a little bit skeptical, because defining an app in a Zoom call, and that two people are joining from the remotest part of Maharashtra, what kind of response we'll get. So UNICEF and SR team was a lot of debate, a lot of discussion whether how to launch it. So, but we all our assumption went wrong, because often we uh, assumption is not good in these days. Like even the rural people are also quite tech savvy these days because of many applications. So, so though actually what SR and we are saying that there are 300 or 250 odd participants, but one Zoom platform, more than 5 or 6 people logged in. So the number is more than in thousand. So we when we approach, share the app and everything with them, many of them downloaded the app during our call only. Like the call lasted for half an hour. During the call only, many of them downloaded the app, and it was with the Maharashtra State Education and Department, and we are grateful for the Education Department to give us the scope. So you can understand the energy and the spirit within the teachers. So idea was this thing is that in menstrual hygiene management program and such kind of training with the Sahej app or any kind of IC materials, our aim is to have a nodal teacher, a female nodal teacher in each rural schools of Maharashtra and also urban schools. And where there is no female teacher, the local Anganwadi Sevika can be a teacher. So we have developed this 12 weeks module, and the entire module is also being co-opted in the Sahej app. So you don't need any printed materials anymore. So you are COVID sensitive also. So everything can be done with the app. They can go line by line, and even it can be projected in the projector, because many schools have also have a projector. So that's the beauty of this kind of app on application. And a lot of animations are there. It's not only Marathi long text. Every one module is linked with some animations and your activity for next 1 week. Then the person has to come back and the girl has to brief. Along with the girl, the boys are also taken. That the boy has been motivated that what kind of thing he has done in the home in last 7 days to motivate his mother, sister, or elder sister or younger sister. So if he shares something, so everyone claps and call him as a champion, champion, champion. So the boy is also get motivated. So it is not only training, but it comes with a very kind of a cascading mode of planning that is continuing. So it is a continuous process. Most of the schools in Maharashtra are till 7th standard, like 65% of the schools. So most of the cases we train, orient students from 6th and 7th standards, because these are the adolescent age starting from 11 to 19 years, right? But the same time, the fourth, fifth standard, when he's going to the sixth standard, the girl who is leaving or boy who's leaving, he or she is also training his or her younger students. So this peer learning is very critical for MHM or any kind of Sahaj-like applications or IEC materials. So as you pointed out, WSSC, even in the Sahaj applications, we have books for the brailles also on MHM. So we are working on how to address the hearing impaired part. Like that is also an issue, because this is a one children with special need. You agree, doctor? You are a doctor, that it is still a neglected issue in India. We still don't have a data. Like we have a lot of data about the physical disability, but we do not have data about the mode of the special children and how these special children will share their concern about menstrual hygiene, sanitation, toilet, and other taboos and issues. So this is a long way to go, but we have started our journey. Like I said that though I'm in UNICEF for I'm in this sector for last 20, 21 years, and in MHM working for last 13 years, but I'm learning every day. I learn from everyone.
So this is simply awesome because holistically the awareness is being spread, and even special needs children are being considered, and in whichever manner they can be helped, the help is being meted out to them. That is truly amazing. Now, how do you or UNICEF see MHM beyond a hygiene program? And you did speak about Chupi Todo earlier. So why is there a need for such interventions?
Yeah. So the Chupi Todo campaign came from a very different thing about the community toilets in Mumbai. In Mumbai, you know that we have a officially slum population is. Am I audible, right? Yeah. Officially, am I audible? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
Officially slum population is 41% as per the 2011 census. But you know, all know that it is much more than that. And within the slum population, only 20 to 25% have access to individual toilets. We are all dependent on community toilets. Now, many of the community toilets doesn't have electricity. Many of them doesn't have a latch in the door. Many of the community toilets, the ventilation is such a place that you cannot defecate inside the toilet. So the Chuppi Todo campaign from this entire thing, many organizations like Koro, Apnalay, CYDA, Sri Ratna Prerna Mandal, CACR, they came together and they said that an Observer Research Foundation that, so they gave the name called Chuppi Todo, that the girls should be vocal. We need electricity. We need our toilet to have latches. We need the ventilation should be in such a height that no one can see us. So then at the same time, the issue of menstrual hygiene management came. Many of the toilets are choked. So some of the cases people are not aware, they are putting the sanitary napkin or cloth inside the toilet pan, and toilet become choked because there's no dustbin. And also you know that uh, uh, they are not aware also that where to dump the kind of a menstrual hygiene the product. Like there's an organization called in Pune called Swatch. They run a very unique program of disposal of menstrual hygiene products. They given along with the sanitary napkin also a newspaper with a red dot. So when you are disposing your sanitary napkin, you just wrap it with a red dot. So the Safai workers are very much aware that it has a sanitary napkin product. So the person can immediately kind of a disaggregate or immediately kind of a replace or put it in some other dustbin. So this entire Chuppi Todo campaign from this entire health and safety and risk thing. And then we overlaid the MHM part along with that. And why UNICEF get into that? That our main motto of that we work for the children, women, and the adolescents. And within the adolescents, adolescent girls are more vulnerable than the adolescent boys. So that's why UNICEF also get into the entire MHM program, because we believe that MHM is something that you have a rights over your own body. You should have a rights that what kind of absorbent you will use. You should have a rights when you should become pregnant, when you should not. So it is all it's a gender transformative program for us, because we are also trying to inculcate the same caring and that sensitivity. They don't need sympathy, they need empathy. That same sensitivity with the fathers, with the guardians, and also the elders, like in-laws. If in-laws are irrespective, it can be mother-in-law and father-in-law. So, so our peer group is not only girls, but it extends beyond that. So I hope I could able to answer your query.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm so glad to hear that it is not only awareness that is brought to the adolescent girls or women, but you're also including the boys, you're also including the father-in-laws. So that kind of gets the conversation going, and the taboo, which is so deeply there in our minds where menstruation is concerned, is slowly we are kind of getting rid of it, and it is becoming, we're normalizing it literally, because it is a normal physiological process in any woman's life. So we need to address it in that manner. And I'm truly thankful to you that this movement has started, and you are taking such active role. You've taken this lead in this whole campaign about spreading the awareness. Now, it is said that a pandemic can exacerbate period poverty. Tell us more about the entire effort of Jeevan Rath, where SR Foundation was one of the key partners, and how we supported with MHM products to the migrants, sex workers, CWSN, adolescents during lockdown, or the people on the move.
Yeah, so I think it is a very sensitive thing given that to me. It is like just like my baby own baby. So I'll tell you just to set the context, like how this entire given that thing came. Like after 23rd March, the certain announcement of the lockdown and everything, there was a kind of a fear. So the health pandemic is also coupled with the human pandemic. Like COVID no longer remain a health pandemic, but become a humanitarian pandemic also. Of course, one end, the health professionals, WHO, ICMR, uh, health Ministry of Health are working on the medicine, treatment, and all the accessory part. But there's a one group of organizations started working also the who are people on move. Often we do not use the word migrants, because uh, and I often use the word that citizens of India suddenly termed as a migrant. So I call them as a people on move, or people who are stuck. And I often use one kind of metaphor, like the about the COVID, like the passport brings the COVID, and effect is on the ration card. So this is the something happened in the COVID. So what happened? We had a small WhatsApp group, and this WhatsApp group with the partners. And that time, I am saying late March, we have a WhatsApp group, some 8 to 10 partners. Then we suddenly get to know all this newspaper and everything on what is happening. Then we thought that can we do any kind of a collaborative effort? Then we started approaching many like-minded organizations throughout Maharashtra and also outside Maharashtra. Then SR joined, RISE joined, many other organizations, CSCR, CYDA. I can't name all the organizations. Please don't get upset, other organizations, but you are part and parcel of ours. And by first week of April, first week by mid of April, the group of 10 people become group of 125 people with 75 organizations, which includes NGOs, government, corporates, academic, Rotarians. Then after we came together, we decided that there will be no leader in the platform. UNICEF was only convening the platform. It is a Maharashtra PECONET COVID and response relief platform. Then the first thing is came that transport needs, the people who are in stuck people. So we started a concept called Food on Wheels, Jeevan Rath. So we started some 4 to 6 trucks. One of our very good friend from Bangalore with Hungry Wheels, who came up with this truck concept. So all our foods, sanitary napkins, and we never give any processed food. we always or never gave any kind of a uh, uh, cooked food which are perishable. So along with the food, we also include the hygiene products. I will give you an example, Dr. Aditi. We found one day one person is cycling uh, with with his wife in the back and two children in the front, and he was cycling from Virar. So and he has some additional two tires tubes. I didn't understand. So one of our partner Yuva asked them that why where are you going? So he was cycling to Nepal.
My God, from
So
Virar.
yeah, he
Oh
was
my,
cycling to. That's why he has those extra tubes.
oh
So
wow.
then we understood the magnitude of the pandemic, and we stopped. We told that it is no longer a health pandemic.
Hmm.
So then SR Foundation, Rotarians, Ring, Red is New Green, they came up with, so we have a different kind of groups within the platform. So one group take the entire responsibility of providing the sanitary napkins, because why that time we provided the sanitary napkins? Because of easy. So we mobilized many buses like with Project Mumbai and also with other organizations. And then we organized trains. Even we sent people in chartered flights from Mumbai to Ranchi. So with all the and Rice is one of the secretariats. So in that secretariat we could able to reach out nearly 300,000 people with food, with hygiene products, which includes one of the major things is the sanitary napkin. At the same time, there are certain red light areas are there in Mumbai and Thane. So there also SR Foundation, Ring, Shamta, other organizations, they played Rotarians, they played a key role to distribute those sanitary napkins on those red light areas because they are not able to go out. So, so that is the thing. So it's a huge number of mobilized, and it was an organic movement entire Jivan Rath. Now Jivan Rath 3.0 is going on. By the way, Dr. Aditi, we have not stopped. Many organizations. So we started. We have just completed 202 days of Jivan Rath, and still 75 partners are intact. No one speaks about
Wow.
money, and it is agnostic to anyone's name. We have also a website like mahapeconet.org that anyone can mahacpeconet.org, c19peconet.org. Anyone can visit that website, and it is a very democratic process. Everyone can voice out their concern, starting from supplying ventilator to oxygen to food to cash transfer to travel support to medical support to providing hand washing stations, to providing biomedical waste, to sanitary napkin and training. Everything Jivan Rath has done, and also with the soap. So we have partners, big partners, and corporate support like anything, like Tech Mahindra, Gala, Hindustan Unilever, Hyundai Foundation. They came out like without asking so much of questions, and they are so and the processes was so fast. The red tapeism was not there. People understood the urgency. And the best part is that we can use the COVID pandemic as an opportunity to reach the vulnerable people. Like we came to know that many of them do not have a PDS ration card.
Hmm.
Many of them doesn't have kind of a livelihood. Like many of them doesn't have access to the medical shops are closed. They don't have money to buy sanitary napkins because even a simple sanitary napkins also cost 20 to 24 rupees. So they don't have the money for that. So the sanitary napkin, one of the cash transfer criteria along with the delivery of the children, we supported 15 delivery of the children through cash transfer, paying the bill of the hospitals. At the same time, providing sanitary napkins was one of the important component of cash transfer, where they have access to the sanitary napkin was provided, and being UNICEF is involved, we first ensure also the quality of the sanitary napkin. And I must say that another organization played a very big role under Asmita, that is the Maharashtra State Rural Livelihood Mission, their team, their director, everybody, because those are made by the SAGs. So one way it provided the access to the absorbents to needy people. At the same time, it gave a livelihood also to the SHG. So they were producing sanitary napkins. They are still producing. They are producing soaps. They are producing masks. And these days we are getting colorful masks matching with your sari or kurta or shirt and everything. So it has also become a new normal. I believe masks will be also be available in the big malls some days as a good product. So I think so entire COVID we use this as a pandemic as an opportunity, but we learned another poverty and vulnerability in the COVID, and that is in that industrialized states, highly economically forward states are more vulnerable to COVID. What we have seen in Maharashtra, like Mumbai, Pune, Thane, Nasik, Aurangabad, these are all industrialized states. Economy is very high, and COVID does not isolate or select who is rich and poor. So that way, everyone is vulnerable. So that is the thing that the same thing happened in Gujarat also and Andhra also. So COVID has created a different kind of vulnerability which is beyond the economic dimension. And those who are poor have become much more vulnerable. Right now, we're doing the skill mapping that what kind of skills are required. So one of the skills are required that many of them are willing to start a business or entrepreneurship to manufacture sanitary napkins, manufacture masks, manufacture soaps. So some new things are always coming up. So Jivan Rath, I can speak entire day for the
No,
Jivan
but
Rath. It is so close to everybody's
no,
heart.
it's truly heartening to see how so many corporates, so many foundations, so many NGOs came together without any expectation to be named first, or one of the expectations that normally come along with
Yeah,
such support. It's truly heartening, and the work that Jeevan Rath has done and continues to do so. 3.0, I'm sure it will continue to be there for a long time because, like you said,
yeah, we are continuing at least mid of
yeah.
next year, as long as the vaccine is not out.
That's really great that you're looking at the COVID pandemic as an opportunity actually to reach out and to see what can be done besides, of course, giving sanitary napkins and even livelihoods, for example. That's truly heartening. It's really great to know. It's been awesome to hear you speak so passionately about all the topics that we spoke about. What are your last thoughts for our viewers?
Last thought our viewers is that one thing I've learned in last 20, in these 6 months and 7 months is that anything is possible in in the world. You must have seen how many cyclones we have faced. The climate change is reality, and with climate change, there is an increase of such kind of ILIs that influenza or any kind of SARS or any kind of a disease spikes, whether it's a diarrhea, malaria. But at the same time, because of COVID and too much of hand washing, there are less number of reported swine flu, malaria, and diarrhea cases. That's a good thing, Dr. Aditi. So, and also I would like to say that we did a small survey, though it's not a representative survey in the villages. After basic food items, the most sold item is soap. So people have understood that out of fear or something others the soap. But just to the viewers, one thing that this is my learning in the Jivan Rath platform, working with partners like SR or any all these 75 partners, corporates, that without collaboration, we cannot do anything. Collaboration may take time, but we can go a long way. It should be agnostic to any names. It should be an organic movement. And people need certain solidarity in COVID time. We have to be, because you are a psychiatrist is no better than us that lot of divorce cases are coming up. Many cases are coming up. Even people are getting like restless while working in the home. Even I myself also, but I travel to the field frequently. But people are getting restless. So the solidarity having patience and also showing some kind of empathy is the need of the hour. And also, I read some of the newspapers articles, I don't want to name them, that because of maids are coming to the houses, the COVID cases are increasing. So, this kind of a naming and shaming should be avoided. If we see the COVID cases are more in the high and middle income groups than the low income groups. So I think we should not be stereotyped in these typical COVID cases, and we should have respect to the health workers and doctors and the sanitation workers because they are doing a thankless job. Still, I would say thankless job because just clapping or doing some kind of a one day, one evening kind of thing, we cannot thank these health workers and doctors. We are getting into the festive season. I know many of the places are opening, but it is our duty, our thing that my family is my responsibility, the way Honorable Chief Minister has told to the entire state, and I believe many other states have taken that. Government may be opening many things because of their many other reasons, but it is our responsibility to contain the virus, to break the chain. But at the same time, also, whenever is possible, reach out to the others for the help. Those who are living in the society, those who are living in the slums or in a SRA colonies. So I have learned three things in the thing that we have to accept the climate change and we have to start working on that. And this year, UNICEF every year from 14th November to 20th November, we celebrate the Child Rights Week, CRC, when it was signed. And this year, the theme is climate change and its impact to the children and the coming generation. So I would like to appeal everyone that please do something on your own way. If you are doing 40 seconds for hand washing, you don't have to open the tap. After hand washing, you can open the tap and you don't have to always switch on your AC these days because air conditioning is worse for COVID. It's better to have in an open area and support each other. That is the main thing I have learned. And for any kind of organization, NGOs, UNICEF is always open for collaboration when we are reaching the unreached. And COVID has told us that we have a long way to go and we have not able to reach many unreached people. It's not only tribals, but within urban Mumbai also. There are so many unreached people with the basic services. And it has found that in Mumbai, where the COVID cases are high in those wards, there's a study done by Praja Foundation. It's a very good study. Those wards from the very beginning has a poor health care services, poor water sanitation and hygiene services. So they are more vulnerable. And don't wash hand out of fear. Wash hand with joy because as Sachin Tendulkar always told, that's half hath mein dam aahe. So hand washing is a most joyful and simple activity. And when you are, especially these hand washing facilities and water is required critical time for the girls, for our mothers, for our sisters when they are menstruating. And because they have or had menstruated, we could see life in the on the earth. And I'm proud of myself that because of my mom, I am speaking in such kind of a public platform because of many other people. So I think respect also your spouse. So there are many things, but I'll stop here. I'm getting a little bit emotional, but COVID has made us emotional, and I think we should retrospect, introspect a lot. Even I also sometimes become very angry, sometimes maybe with my son, with my spouse. But after that, I realize that they are also facing the same issue. So that's all,
Absolutely.
Dr.
I
Aditi.
mean, truly, it's very well put. put through, because compassion, kindness, empathy, these are the values that we need to practice every single day. And an act of kindness done by each person will truly go a long way. So collaboration even between human beings is become the necessity if we have to survive in the best possible manner, given the climate change, given the lockdown situation, the pandemic, and I don't know how many more diseases we are going to face. So humanity, for humans to stay alive and be healthy, I think humanity is going to be the best vaccine forward. Thank you very much for coming on Dr. A Talks in association with SR Foundation. We are truly grateful that you took this time out and spoke with such passion and shared with us all that you've been doing. Thank you very much.
It's my honor and privilege. Everyone stay safe, stay happy, and Jai Hind.